everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura with the blog artreallyhouse.com, and today I'm going to be sharing a what we eat in a week. This is a lot of fall meals. It's cooling off here, so I'm doing a lot of things with squash and soups and different things. And so if you are looking for some healthy meal ideas, you can come and cook with me and see what we ate this week for dinner. On the first night, I made stuffed acorn squash with apples and sausage. This is my all-time favorite fall meal. All of my kids, my husband love it, and we all agree that acorn squash is our favorite of all the squashes. So I first just cut an acorn squash in half, remove the seeds, and place it in a baking dish and roast it for about 45 minutes. While it's roasting, I cut up all the veggies that go inside of it, some celery, onions, an apple, and I also did a jalapeno. Now that of course is optional, and I do only put that in the ones for me and my husband because that's a little too spicy for my kids, but we love that sweet and spicy taste together. In my cast iron skillet, I added a little bit of avocado oil and added in a pound of sausage, and then I added my vegetables to get them all nice and sauteed, and then I added in a little bit of spice mix. This is salt and pepper, some paprika and rosemary. And once all the meat is brown and the vegetables are soft, scoop the mixture into the roasted acorn squash. I top this with some sharp cheddar cheese and let it melt, and it is so delicious. On the second night, we had vegetable beef soup with some homemade broth. This is something that we eat, you probably noticed, on every single week at some point because I love to get broth into our diets. It has so many great benefits. And so soup is the best way for me to do that. So I just added in here some carrots, onions, potatoes, some ground beef in with my homemade broth. And then I always add in some mixed vegetables, usually some type of frozen mixed vegetable, sometimes some rice cauliflower, basically whatever I have on hand, and serve up a big pot of soup. And I love making soup because I can make a ton of it, and it's usually enough for us for lunch for the next day as well. On the third night, we had sweet potato tacos, which is another favorite around here. I had a lot of little helpers in the kitchen tonight. This is my son, Sam, and I laughed when I was editing this, watching him sneak some tomatoes as he was cutting them. But basically what I do is bake up some sweet potatoes, and I use that as a taco shell. And we just top it with all of the taco toppings. So we're doing ground beef with some onion. I did cheese, jalapenos again, just for me and my husband, salsa, avocados, guacamole, whatever taco toppings you can think of, and you eat it right out of the sweet potato shell. On the next night, we had steak and burgers and fries, and you'll notice that these hands here are my husband's hands, not mine, because he did the cooking this night, and this is a very typical meal that he would make, which it's any meal that he makes is a good meal in my mind. So he's actually a really good cook. So this is just some ground beef with, he put onions in there and some spices. He patted up some burgers for the kids, and then we did some steaks for us. We just pan fried everything on the cast iron skillet inside. Typically he would like to grill, but the night was getting a little bit late, so we just did them inside to make it a little bit faster. He just grilled the steaks with a little bit of butter, and he added some fresh rosemary on there. And then he made some homemade fries with just potatoes fried in coconut oil and a little bit of salt. And he served this with sauerkraut. On the next night, I made creamy garlic chicken with roasted vegetables. I had some chicken tenderloins in the freezer, so I just defrosted those, and I am just pan frying them here in some butter. And I also put some salt and pepper and garlic on these, and then I made a really delicious garlicky sauce with milk, who's what made it creamy, and then just put the chicken back in there, and it was really, really good. So also in the sauce, I added in some onions and fresh garlic, and it was made with broth and milk. And then also I did a little bit of arrowroot powder to thicken the sauce. That's what I use instead of flour or breadcrumbs, just to keep it gluten-free if you have any allergies or anything like that. And it's just what I had on hand. I actually got this recipe from someone, so I will link it below if you want to try it. I just had some frozen vegetables and added some salt and pepper to them and roasted them with some sweet potatoes, and that was dinner. On the last night, I made some honey garlic pork chops. We recently got a half of a hog from a local farm. So we have lots of pork now, and I just started getting into it. And so this was some pork chops that we had. I just seasoned them up, pan fried them in some butter. I made a honey garlic sauce to baste them in. I served these with roasted red potatoes and mixed greens. hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some good ideas. If you have not already checked out my 30-day of healthy eating cookbook, there's a link for that down in the description box where I give you 30 days worth of healthy dinners, lunches, breakfasts, and snacks with the grocery list, all the recipes to make meal planning a little bit easier. So you guys can check that out. And if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. I get out new videos every single week. So I hope to see you in the next one.